Caps for Sale, a tale of a peddler, some monkeys, and their monkey business. Told and illustrated by Esphyr Slobodkina. Oh, how are you today? How are you today? Clap, clap, clap your hands. How are you today? Oh, Jen is here today. Jen is here today. Clap, clap, clap your hands. Jen is here today. I hear Ryan's here today. Ryan's here today. Clap, clap, clap your hands. Ryan's here today. Everybody's here today. Everybody's here today. Clap, clap, clap your hands, 'cause everybody's here today. Hello, it's Mr. Greg again, wearing a very wonderful hat. I won't be wearing this cap the whole time, but it's pretty funny, right? Because it's yellow and it's bigger than a normal hat. Ooh, hello. Okay, let me get this one off. Toss that off to the side. And I'm going to put on my cap, because we're reading Caps for Sale. And I have to tell you that when I read Caps for Sale, I don't know why, I do a sort of British accent. And it's a British accent from my friend Steve. So if anyone wonders, where did you get your accent, Greg? It's from a very long time ago when I had a friend from London named Steve. And I just basically am doing an impersonation of Steve. Caps for Sale. It's a very lovely book. It's a very large book. Do you see how big the book is? That's why I wore that very large cap. Oh my goodness, the book closed on me again. Here we go. Caps for Sale, a tale of a peddler, some monkeys, and their monkey business. Yes, let's have a look at that peddler. Yes, do you see him? His very lovely trousers, and he has a lovely checked cap, and a fancy suit and shoes. Well, let's read about him, shall we? We shall. Oh, there's a dedication to Rosalind and Emmy Jean, and to their grandfather who loved to read to them. Oh, that's a very lovely one. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried his caps on his head. First he had his own checked cap, and then a bunch of grey caps, and then a bunch of brown caps, and then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a beautiful bunch of red caps. Have a look at those beautiful red caps. Now, I'm going to do something similar, except I don't have a checked cap, but I do have this lovely kind of grayish hat, and I have this really nice kind of reddish hat. I guess it should go on top, right? So let's do this beautiful black pirate's cap. Arrgh! I've got the pirate's cap on, and then the red cap, all the way on top. Now, if you have any caps that you want to go and get and put on your head, you could do that too. Or you could just sit and read. Either way. But sometimes it's fun to wear hats and things like that, especially if you're reading a book about a person who sells caps. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight, so as not to upset the caps. Now that doesn't mean he's going to make the caps cry. Upset means when caps fall off. You don't want to upset the caps, just like I did. And he went along, and as he did, he called, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" It's a very fair price for caps. Seems I've upset my caps. I should put those back on now, shouldn't I? Got that one, and we've got the red one on top. Must not upset your caps. One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street, and he walked down the street, calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" but nobody wanted any caps. Not that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. I think I'll go for a walk in the country. And he walked out of town slowly, slowly, so as not to upset his caps. And there's the peddler walking out of town. Very lovely. See the very large structure. I think that's a church, perhaps, that's in town. Perhaps the town church. So many trees. It's a very... Oh, look at what he found. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. Well, that's a nice place to rest, thought he. And he sat down very slowly under the tree, and he leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put his hand to feel if they were all straight. First his own checkered cap, and then the gray caps, and then the brown caps, and then the blue caps, and finally on top the red caps. They were all there. So he went to sleep. There's a lovely picture of the sun, I think, don't you? Well, anyway, he slept for a very long time. Well, when he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. Do you ever have a really lovely nap and you wake up just feeling so refreshed? Like, wonderfully refreshed. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place, and all he felt on his own head was his own checkered cap. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What happened? Do you... Hey, I only have one. Do you know what happened? Did you see anything? You did. So, you saw a hand grab the caps. My goodness. Maybe the story will help me? Oh, I don't know what's happening here. Well, he looked to the right of him. Maybe I'll try that. No caps. And he looked to the left of him. I'll try that. No caps. He looked in back of him. No caps back there. And he looked behind the tree. No caps. Well, then he looked up in the tree, and what do you think he saw? Oh, turn the page? Yeah, I should do that, yeah. Oh my goodness. And on every branch of that tree sat a monkey. Monkeys with gray caps, and monkeys with blue caps, and monkeys with brown caps, and monkeys with red caps. Oh my goodness, he's got a red one, and a brown one, and a gray, and it's just so many monkeys up there. And then the peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. You know what you could do right now if you wanted? Here's another thing that you could do right now. because I'm looking up in the tree. You can pretend you're one of the monkeys. How about that? Right now, you just pretend you're one of the monkeys. And of course, I'm the peddler, okay? So you do all of the silly things that the peddler has the monkeys doing here, all right? So anyway, he didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to the monkeys. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking a fist at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fists at him, and they said, "Tss, tss, tss." Go ahead, you can say it to me. "Tss, tss, tss," very loudly, and shaking your fists at me. Now this made the peddler angry. So he took his fingers and he started to wave his fingers at the monkeys like this, and he said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss, tss." I'm feeling very warm suddenly. Whew. Now, he felt quite angry, and he stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." Now, do you know what you have to do, boys and girls and parents and anyone who's watching? You stomp your feet at me and say, "Tss, tss, tss." Well, by this time the peddler was really very angry. He stamped both of his feet and he shouted, "You monkeys must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both of their feet, and of course they said, "Tss, tss, tss." Very good. At last, he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and threw it on the ground and began to walk away. But each monkey pulled off his cap, and all of the gray caps, and all of the brown caps, and all of the blue caps, and all of the red caps came flying out of the tree. What a clever idea he accidentally stumbled upon. All of those monkeys were copying me. When I waved my fingers, they waved their fingers. And when I shook my fist, they shook my fist. And when I jumped up and down, they jumped up and down. And I had become so angry that when I threw my cap to the ground, the monkeys copied me. Well, the peddler picked up his caps and he put them back on his head. First, his own checkered cap. In my case, my lovely green driving cap. Then the gray caps. I believe I do have a gray cap. Yes. And the brown caps and the blue caps. I don't have those, but I do have this pirate's cap. And then my favorite, of course, from Cook Forest, the red cap goes on the very top. See how he's organizing them on the ground? It's very lovely, see, stacking them before he puts them on top of his head. I think that's a very clever way to do it, if you have so many caps. Yeah, because if I tried to put 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, by the time it got to 5, they would be quite crooked, I would imagine. So you stack all of those brown caps, and then all of those blue caps, and then all of those gray caps, and then all of those red caps, and you take that stack, and you can stack them up one by one, so it stays very straight. Very clever, this peddler is, very clever. Even when he doesn't mean to be clever, getting those monkeys to toss the things out of the tree. And slowly, he walked back to town calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" And that is the end of that story. Take a look at that final picture. I wonder if that peddler ever did get his lunch. You remember from the beginning of the story, he was out trying to sell his caps. 50 cents. It's a very good price for a cap. And he took his rest and he had his adventure with the monkeys and walked back to town. But it's not clear if he ever got his lunch. I'd like to imagine he walked back to town and sold 3 or 4 of those caps, perhaps even the red ones. I would sell the red ones maybe for 60 cents a cap. And he went and he got himself a beautiful lunch of, what do you think that peddler might have had? Perhaps some bread, maybe a burger or a sandwich, and chips. Anyway, that's what I like to imagine. I'm very happy that you've hung out with me today. It seems that I no longer have the British accent. It's completely gone. Isn't that interesting how that happens sometimes? Okay, well, we'll be back again tomorrow and we'll read another book. And I don't know what that book's going to be yet, but it's going to be so exciting. So thank you for coming out here today. Coming out here? Where did you come to? Thank you for coming out of the bedroom into the living room, perhaps out of the living room into the bedroom to hang out with me. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.